All right, so the starting time for the BOE meeting is 2:42. And the first one on our agenda is the assessment roll and the new construction value. So I think the very first one is the 2023 one, and with the blue signature is the 2024, 2025. Okay. But there's a little bit of a difference from this year and last year, so. But I spoke with the state and apparently all we needed to do is just look at the total assessed value of this year and then compare it to last year, just because there's a lot of properties and I don't think we all could go through all of it. So they just want us to look at the value, and if we have any questions, the assessor's not here. So, but yeah. Do you guys have any questions or?
So on the second page is the definition of what the certification for the taxable value is at. So the certificate is for the taxable or the assessed value of all locally assessed real property after reevaluation is complete. And so for the forest land, what we're looking at, it says it shows the assessed value of designated forest land. So just looking at all those properties. So some properties are split up and divided up and only have a portion that are designated. Then we have large parcels that are just stated as designated forest land. So it looks like October 23, we had 67 million or whatever of forest land. And then now it's down to 72, or went up to 72, excuse me. The assessed value. So more property either got designated or overall value and or overall values increased. So
how would we know if the value just went up or if more property was added in that designation? And is that important?
That would have to be an assessor's question. She's just not here. But
I'll make a note of it and maybe.
but I think Kelly's gonna try to get her
Okay.
so that you guys could ask her questions about it. So yeah. Are we ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay. So the next one is the testimony time limit for our hearing. So each side gets a time limit. I think last year we had 6 minutes each. So I just wanted to see if you guys want it to be 6 minutes, 8 minutes, so that I could put it on our policy and procedure manual.
can you tell us how it went last year? Was it suffice, or did you feel like that was? It's more of a guide. So the clerk will read it in, the chair will read it in, saying, you have this much time, because we really reinforce that you can't share anything new today per se, without agreement by all parties. And so we just want them to this is the time for them to reinforce the facts that they really want to make sure we are hearing them. Excuse me. And so 6 to 8 minutes, that's why it's kind of always going back and forth. When we had a lot of hearings, we dropped it down to 6 minutes, because we reminded them also that we have already reviewed all of their case. And so I think with the number that we have this year, and also, I think it'd be a good opportunity for you guys, for our newer board, to be able to ask maybe some additional questions and go ahead and give it 8 minutes per side. And especially since we do have fewer cases.
Sounds good.
All right, so 8 minutes? Okay, sounds good. And then the last one is, well, not the last one, but I just wanted to give you guys a layout of what the hearings is like. I guess the schedule. Um, a lot of them are getting stipulated and some of them are, I just got two notifications today that there's two that are getting stipulated. So once they're finalized, I'll update. And so we shouldn't really have a lot, but yeah. Do you guys have any questions about the hearing schedule?
No,
Okay.
that looks good. And then will you just continue as time goes through? Can you just keep on updating us on this?
Yeah, yeah, so the ones that were like stipulation in progress, I put them in the very last time slot of the day so that if they're finalized, we'll just have a shorter day.
Yeah, that's
And I
perfect.
also just tried to group it by appraiser
Mhm.
so that they don't have to go back and forth and it's just a lot of,
It almost appears that if all but one,
what was that?
it looks like only, there's one that isn't stipulated or withdrawn, and the rest are withdrawn or stipulated. So would it be that we would maybe only end up with one?
Which
Right.
date is that?
It's on the 9th.
Well, in the, look at the morning time from 9 to 10:30.
Oh, am I looking at, I'm
Yeah.
looking at it wrong.
Okay.
I see. Yeah. The red threw me off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's in the brackets there. Yeah, the time brackets, time slots. So,
Yeah.
I see that now.
But it's looking good so far, so yeah.
but keep in mind too, even though even though you tried to put it as the last box,
Mhm.
if somebody comes in and then like that, because it's all first come, first served.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these are the ones that are slotted for that hour. We don't know who, we just got to go with whoever we see in person first and then go with the next one. So,
Yeah. And I think, oh, there they are. I guess they have questions for you guys.
I just
Oh, I
wanted
just-
to introduce you real quick. This is Chloe. She is kind of a specialist in the area we think you're asking a question on, so we brought her with us.
Hi. So we were looking at specifically the designated forest land and the different values between last year and this year. And the question for me was, how do we know if all the values just went up or if more property was added to that designation? And does it really matter, I guess, for us? Okay.
So the designated forest land values are set by the state. I believe the statute is RCW 8433091. So throughout the year, Department of Revenue takes in data from harvest sales, and then they designate like stumpage values that also coincide with the DNR soil map. And so we have what's called a timber grading layer on our map where we can actually measure the different timber grades across a property, and then we make the tax roll reflect that.
Okay.
And then in our administrative program, that data from the state goes into what's called a productivity value, and that is, set to calculated. So if, say, one particular timber designation for like Douglas fir, state tells us it's 180 an acre, we put that data into our program, and then it calculates it based off of the number of acres that we have assigned to that particular timber grade. And in any given tax parcel, there could be multiple different timber grades. So that's the productivity end of things. And then we also have a market value panel in our software where historically, I think we've always just set it to match the productivity value. I know that we're in the process of establishing and carrying current market value on the roll as well. It's not something that we're legally required to do, but it is helpful, particularly when we're calculating, say, estimates of compensating tax if people are looking to remove any particular amount of acreage from the program. That way the value is just already set in there and we can run our calculation faster. So likely over the last couple of years, some properties have seen us begin, I should say, to carry a current market value. So there would have been a drastic difference on the market side of things. But in our annual notice of value, we have fields for market and then, the classified taxable value. And then we did note that on the notice as well, that the taxable value is still being assessed according to RCW. And then I think there's also been a number of accounts where we've come across where for whatever reason, that productivity value was set to flat. And so it didn't keep up with even state values. So I think this year in particular, maybe last year as well, I probably looked at thousands of accounts and just made sure that everything was correct. So there's probably a few different scenarios in which property owners could have seen market value increase of their forest land, but their taxable value is still correct.
Okay. Let me figure out how to word this. For forested property that wasn't in designated forest land, what's the process? I mean, I assume that sometimes people turn around and put it into that designation when it hasn't been there. Is that something you see very often, or?
Yeah, we probably get about a dozen applications for designated forest land a year.
Okay.
And so at the time of application, they, complete said application, they submit a timber management plan that's prepared by a forester, pay the fee. We review that, and then let's say, we can approve the application. We would then look to our map to that timber grade layer to measure out all the different areas. And then we make that change on the tax roll. So it's a matter of applying productivity, using specific terms of the program, setting in, what that soil code is that we call it. So that way it calculates the new per acre taxable value, and that's maintained in its own field. And then again, on the market side of things, we either have it match productivity or, kind of on one-on-one situations as appraisers review accounts and everything. I believe they're also carrying or establishing and carrying a market value, which would be similar to how they would value any other unclassified property.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
If you need anything else, just give us a
Okay,
call.
thank you.
All right, moving along. I know that Laura, do you want to say something?
So based on that excellent information that we just shared by Ms. Chloe, I necessarily make a motion, but I'm in the agreement that we accept the new assessed value of forest land as provided to us by the assessor's office.
Second.
So the board, everybody accepts the new role.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so the very last thing is that I think Laura wanted to look over the board speech. Was there something you'd like to change, or?
No, I will just, we'll put in here that we're going to do the 8 minutes. So that's the only thing that needs to be added to it now, once we do that part. I just know that are we going to do, are we offering Zoom?
Yes, and there is one petitioner that's wanting to do Zoom.
So we'll also need the whole, ask the whole comments paragraph about if we get disconnected, what's the phone number that they can call and all that part.
Yeah.
I have nothing further. Does the rest of the board have any questions, clarifications about our upcoming session?
All All right, we can adjourn at 2:57. Thank you.